Hello, cooking enthusiasts. This week's video is going to be going over my project to make chocolate, finally. For those who don't know, making chocolate from base ingredients requires a special machine called a conche or a melanger, which is essentially a big stone grinder. I have actually had a conch for a little over 2 years, and I made my own version of Nutella and a few different types of white chocolate, but I've never actually made real chocolate until now. What I technically made is referred to as cocoa liquor, which is a little bit confusing, but it just means it is only cacao nibs and nothing else, although in this case I did add a tiny amount of cocoa butter. But you can essentially consider what I made to be 100% dark chocolate, which I do plan to turn into other types of chocolate eventually. Now, most artisanal chocolate makers buy unroasted cacao beans, roast them themselves, and then crack them open to extract the cocoa nibs. Eventually, I will do a real bean to bar project, but I'm really not set up for it right now. So instead, I took a little bit of a shortcut and used cacao nibs. Now, the downside of this is that the already processed cacao nibs that you can just buy in a store or online are generally not as high quality as the nibs and beans used for actual chocolate making. Also, of course, if you can buy a decent amount of raw cacao beans, it reduces the price per kilogram, but I'm not really worried about that right now. I ended up taste testing 5 different brands of raw cacao nibs that were either on Amazon or that I already had on hand. There were definitely some better than others, but nothing was really terrible. I had been planning a project like this for a while, so I ended up using a mixture of cocoa nibs I had on hand and a few others from the taste testing. I'm putting the full breakdown of this batch on screen, as well as the roasting profiles I used. I definitely could have gone a little harder with the roasting, but again, this is my first time making actual chocolate. I ended up putting everything into my chocolate conch in a few stages, but essentially everything went into the grinder relatively quickly after roasting. I also gave most of the nibs a little bit of a pre-grind with a food processor. From there, it was pretty much just babysitting the machine. The point of the conch is to grind the particle size down below the detectable threshold. The grinder was able to achieve a smooth texture in about 24 hours, but as a little optional extra, I left the grinder going for an additional 24 hours, which does change the flavor of the mixture. After the first day, however, I did harvest a little bit of the cocoa liquor and made some chocolate gelato, which I will discuss in a future video. But after the 2 days, I put it all into the circulator for tempering and did an okay job of that. And then I had 100% dark chocolate. Obviously, the flavor profile is very bitter without any added sugar. I would say it's also very tannic, and it reminds me of walnut skin or hazelnut skin. It's also got some minerality, which is all flavors I actually really enjoy, but I could definitely have made it a little bit smoother and richer with some different roasting. But based on the gelato, it works really well as an ingredient. The process generally worked, so I'm pretty happy. Let me know if you have any ideas for what I should do with my 100% dark chocolate, and let me know if you have any questions about this process. Otherwise, thank you for watching.